What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another fantastic episode of The Jump Off. I am your host, KODX Factor, and we are here live again. We are past the 4th of July holiday. We hope everybody had a blessed time. We hope everybody had a great time with family. I hope everybody was safe and enjoyed the fireworks and festivities and their time with family. We thank you guys for letting us or being understandable with us taking a week off for the holiday and spending with family. So we greatly appreciate it. But we are back here live in the studio. We got a packed week coming up. We've got Octopath Traveler coming to the Nintendo Switch tomorrow. So we've got a lot of Let's Play videos, reviews, and gameplay of that coming here this coming weekend. So make sure you stay tuned to the channel for that. But we wanted to touch on a couple of stories this week that had really started to kind of surface and gain traction from people that are looking to, or not necessarily looking, but talking about different things that are going on within the gaming industry. And one of the things that people are starting to talk about is, just to kind of go through a breakdown of what we're going to be discussing here for this episode today. One, we're going to be looking at, a little bit later on in the show, we will be looking at the Dark Souls patch and what they are doing to cut down on the amount of hackers that the game is experiencing right now, and some of the glitches and stuff that people are kind of taking advantage of, and and just how and what the patch does, and whether and does hacking and cheating and stuff like that. What are some of the long-term effects like? Because we've seen that Sea of Thieves has actually put out patches and has started laying out a bunch of bans for cheaters and hackers and stuff like that in the game. PUBG is still having big issues with that, and then Fortnite as well. But Fortnite has happened to cut down a lot on that issue. So we're going to discuss that just a little bit. But our main thing we wanted to discuss and talk with today was the idea of ports, which are games that have already been previously released, coming back or being re-released on a different platform, or a remaster, if you will. We've seen a bunch of those. And has the Nintendo Switch become one of those platforms that has become a hub for ports and in games like that, re-releases? Is the Nintendo Switch the console that is starting to kind of really take more on that as opposed to new IPs? So we're going to look at that, as well as the Xbox and PlayStation getting a lot of remasters, and whether that is the same type of idea as the ports are for the Nintendo Switch. But I wanted to open this discussion up with you guys. What are your thoughts and opinions on this? The Nintendo Switch, a lot of its games that we are seeing are ports. If you look at a lot of the library, a lot of the games that they have discussed, and a lot of the games they have brought to light or even shown are ports. Let's look at Toad. That's a direct port from the Wii U version. Let's look at a lot of the library for the Nintendo Switch. Toad, Donkey Kong, Mario Kart. These are all straight ports from the Wii U version with a couple of added little features. What new IPs can the Nintendo Switch claim rights to and say this is designed specifically for the Switch, that is a huge monumental game? Legend of Zelda. I give you that, even though it did come out on the Wii U as well, but that was specifically designed with the Switch in mind. I give you that. Super Mario Odyssey. Great game as well, designed specifically for Switch, not anywhere else. Never came out on the Wii U, was never talked about for the Wii U, but was specifically designed for Switch. Splatoon 2, a direct sequel to Splatoon. But can you give me many more other than that? We got Octopath Traveler coming this week. I'm actually really looking forward to that because that looks phenomenal to me. But let's look at some of the other games, even ones that they have coming here in the future. The new Kirby that just came out, port. Toad that's coming out, port. Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, port. Seriously, let's take a look now. And then you have a lot of the third-party games like Wolfenstein. Doom came out. I'm not down in the games on the Switch at all. They're great. They're great ports. They're great games. Elder Scrolls. These are games that play well on the system. I'm okay with it. Those games play well. They look good. I am A-okay with that. But then we have some of Nintendo's biggest franchises, such as Kirby, Pokemon, and I'm referring to Pokemon Tournament DX anyhow. I'm not talking about the new one that's coming. And Mario Kart, all those are straight ports from the Wii U version. And then comes the conversation piece of Smash Brothers, the new one that's coming this December. Is it a serious, built from the ground up Switch title? Or is this one that they took many of the elements from the Wii U version and just added all the additional characters that we missed on that version? Because to me, that's what it looks like. It looks like the Wii U version we got years ago, with the addition of all the characters and some of the stages from all the previous Smash Brothers games. There's not any really, really big revolutionary difference here. And I'm not going to say that Smash Brothers is going to be a bad game. I'm actually looking forward to it. I want it. I've loved Smash Brothers. Snake is back. That's enough for me. But a lot of the games that this system has are games that we already got elsewhere at a different time. Elder Scrolls Skyrim is probably one of the biggest games that has gotten port after port after port and re-release after re-release after re-release. That game was originally launched on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. We have seen many iterations of that game since then. The Game of the Year edition on those same platforms. We've seen the re-releases on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Another re-release with the PlayStation 4 VR. Another re-release on the Switch. And then they make that little joke that they had at E3 and is now launched for the Amazon Alexa. There's ports of this game everywhere. Is this becoming a trend that's bad for gaming? Let's look at a lot of the games. How many games are getting remasters? We just got Dark Souls remastered. Devil May Cry, the HD collection for Xbox One and PlayStation 4 came out a few months ago. It seems like we're getting an awful lot of re-release games that have just been updated to look good on the new platforms. Not so many new independent IPs anymore, which I think the Switch is seriously lacking in as it is right now. Look, it's got great games. I like the system. I enjoy playing on it. But I am waiting wholeheartedly for these new IPs that are groundbreaking, specifically designed for that platform. Like Octopath that comes out this Friday. Built with the Switch in mind. And I'm hearing great things about it. I can't wait for our copy to come in the morning. We're going to have lots of gameplay and reviews coming for that game. But they still got Wolfenstein on the horizon. That game's almost a year old. Doom is well over a year old. And these are games that are coming on the Switch much later than they did on the previous systems. So these are we getting like more dumbed down versions of these games just so we can have the portability? Like me personally, I'm the one mindset that once I buy a game, that's it. I will not buy it again, don't matter what platform it comes out on. I never bought Skyrim on Switch. I played it on Switch, but I never bought one. I bought Skyrim on the Xbox 360, and I never bought another copy of that game for no platform. Wolfenstein, I will not pick up for the Switch because one, I already have it for the Xbox One or the PlayStation 4. I already played it, beat it, and everything else. Just because of the portability of the Nintendo Switch is like makes me want to come back to it. No, I'm good. I think a lot of these games, if they're going to come on Switch, they need to come out same launch day as the other versions. They can't put out a version like of the Switch version a year after the fact that the one previously had come out on. Wolfenstein ran into that problem. Doom ran into that issue, and apparently they play really, really good on the system. But is it too late at that point? Who's going to revisit? I mean, do these copies that come on the Switch sell gangbuster volume? I don't think so. And then you have some of Nintendo's hottest IPs, or hottest characters, like Kirby, the Kirby game that just came out not too long ago, was re-released on the Switch version. Now keep in mind, I will give Nintendo credit with this, that a lot of those re-releases that came out on the Switch actually are performing better on the Switch than they did on the Wii U. So for that matter, I can understand why they're going to re-release some of those games, because they want to get those games in more hands than they had previously with their previous system. The Wii U didn't do well. Those games that came out on the Wii U did not do well just due to that fact. Some may have done better than others, like Mario Kart and Super Smash Brothers, obviously. But games like Toad, Donkey Kong, Tropical Freeze, Kirby, Pokemon Tournament, they didn't do all that well on the Wii U. But they're doing pretty well on the Switch. So I understand why they're re-releasing some of their biggest character IPs as a re-releasing some of those games that didn't do well. And now they're starting to, and now they tend to get like a breath of fresh air, if you will. So I understand it. Doesn't make it right, doesn't make it okay, but I understand it. But let's look at some of the other platforms like Xbox and PlayStation. Why are we getting so many remastered versions of games? Remastered copies of Devil May Cry. They've been doing that. They put out the PS2 versions, and then we got like a Devil May Cry collection on 360, and then we got a Devil May Cry HD collection on the PlayStation and Xbox. Do we need another version of that? I don't think we really needed another version of that. But apparently Capcom thought so. And then we get a remaster of Dark Souls. What's up with why do we need all these remasters for? I'm actually really, really curious as to how well these games sold. How well did Dark Souls Remastered do as opposed to the other versions? And there's only one other version. They did it with Dark Souls 2. Some of y'all don't know that, but it wasn't called like Dark Souls 2 Remastered. It was called Dark Souls 2 Scholars of the First Sin. That's a re-release. They put it out on PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. They did it shortly before Dark Souls 3 came out. So they're re-releasing these games before their predecessors come out. And I don't know if this is like a trend in gaming that's starting to get worse and worse as we go on. I don't get it. I hope it's not a trend that continues on, because I, for one, like to see new IPs, like to see new games. I like to see new things, new ideas, fresh ideas, not reworked or remastered ideas. And even if it's like a hardcore sequel or a sequel to a game that is done extremely well, I'm okay with sequels. I like sequels. Sometimes the sequel is actually better than the first game. It doesn't happen all the time. It doesn't happen often. But sequels tend to be very, very good. I mean, some people look at The Last of Us Part 2, for example. It's looking really, really good. It's going to be a while till we see it, but it's looking really, really good. There's a lot of strong sequels out there. But I'm the type of gamer that likes when I'm presented with a brand new idea, a brand new IP. Let's look at just a couple of games real quick. Look at what Ninja Theory did with their latest release for Hellblade. That, it's a new IP. They didn't do like a big box release for that game. It was one of those games that just kind of came out digitally and actually started to build more of a rapport. And then they brought it out on Xbox, and it kind of went up from there, and that's when Xbox bought the studio. IPs like that. And then what Sucker Punch is doing with their brand new Japanese game that they showed off at E3. Great. And I was worried. I was like, I hope they don't go and start working on like another Infamous game. Like, look, I love Infamous. I thought Infamous was a great game. Infamous 2 was good. I wanted something new. Something a little bit different. BioWare did that with Anthem. Now, granted, Anthem kind of looks like other games I've seen already. It looks a little bit like a compilation of like Mass Effect and Destiny all kind of wrapped into one. More so Destiny than anything. The way that they're kind of gearing it up is going to be very Destiny-ish. But I like what CD Projekt Red is doing. They didn't go out and say, okay, look, Witcher has been a great series for us. We've done 1, 2, and 3, and now we're going to move on to Witcher 4. I'm glad they said, you know what, let's take a step back. Let's not do Witcher 4. Let's go ahead and do Cyberpunk 2077. And that game is looking unbelievable right now. Insomniac could have gone back into the repertoire and said, okay, you know what, we need to do another Ratchet & Clank game, or we need to do... we need to do like a Sunset Overdrive, another one, to kind of, and let's release it multi-platform this time. They didn't. They went back and created something new. Well, not even necessarily something new, because it's an IP that all of us know. And it's within a genre that all of us know. Comic books. And they kind of went the Rocksteady route and say, you know what, if we're going to do a superhero game, we're going to have this license. Let's do it to the best of our ability. Let's do it the Insomniac way. And right now, Marvel Spider-Man from Insomniac looks amazing. Now, if we could just get some of these other studios to start coming on board with fresh IPs and new ideas. That's what I love. And I'll be quite honest with you. A lot of the games or a lot of the stuff that I've seen over the past couple of E3s are starting to build more and more towards that. From Software could have easily said, you know what, we're going to go ahead, we're going to do another Dark Souls game, or what everybody's clamoring for is Bloodborne 2. Me personally, I really want Bloodborne 2 as well. But they hit us with a whole new IP. And I have friends of mine that are Souls fanatics as well that didn't even know what that game was. It was like almost like a glance over. They showed it at E3 this year. It looks like it plays very similar to the Souls way, From Software way. But they said, you know what, let's take what we do best and develop another strong IP. So it kind of keeps on building and building and building. Because if that game does well, they're going to want a sequel for that one. Now they have 3 games in the pipeline. They can always develop something else for. The Souls games, Bloodborne, and then this new Psycho. Was it Psycho? Something like that? I can't remember. If they have that IP and it takes off, it could very well be another game that they could develop a franchise around. More IPs, new ideas. I don't want any more ports. I'm kind of getting over the fact of ports, to be quite honest with you. And the Switch is hitting us with an overabundance of ports because it seems like everything, okay, let's put it on Switch. Let's put it on the Switch. Let's put it on the Switch. We can dumb it down. Let's put it on the Switch. And they hand it off to another studio to do the Switch version of it. Why can't they make a game to coincide with the release on all platforms? Much like what's the plane game, the pilot game that's coming out this fall in October? Starwing? So I believe it's what it's called, where the Switch is actually getting the Star Fox exclusive content with it. That's coming across all platforms. Now, granted, it doesn't look very component heavy, but it's going to be launching across all platforms simultaneously. We don't have to wait 6 months to a year for that game to come out on the Switch. I'm still baffled at this point that the Dark Souls Remastered came out on PlayStation and Xbox already on the original release date it was intended to, but the Switch version got delayed until December. To me, it doesn't seem like it's that, and I'm playing it on the PlayStation 4 right now. I've got a bunch of Let's Play videos. I'm going through the entire progress of the game. And I still do not see how this game is not already on Switch. There's better looking Switch games already on the platform than already what I'm seeing with the Dark Souls Remastered. It doesn't look like they did a whole lot. They updated some textures. They made some changes to the game to make it a little bit, I'm not going to say easier because the game's still hard as all get out. But they made some variant changes to the game to kind of bring the Dark Souls 3 fan base with it. So I don't understand how that game's not already on the Switch. What more do you need to do? Or how hard is the Switch really to develop for? I don't know because I'm not a developer on any of the platforms. I don't know the level of resources are needed for a Switch version as opposed to the other ones. You know, I look at it, and I've got degrees in programming, statistics, and all that, and I don't see how it's that labor inclusive for a Switch version as opposed to something else. It looks like you could take whatever's in the box right now for PlayStation and launch it on the Switch. Maybe they're trying to incorporate some motion controls, which, yeah, that could take some time. But does the Dark Souls really need motion controls to go along with the Switch version? I'm actually okay with it. To me, I think this motion control will probably get in the way. But I'd be just fine just playing the game either on the television or on the pad, on the go, without having all that. I just wanted really Dark Souls on the Switch for handheld purposes. I want to be able to take Dark Souls wherever I go. That's the main reason I wanted Dark Souls. I never got Elder Scrolls Skyrim. I never got Skyrim on the Switch. One, because I played it a bunch already on other platforms that I don't really need to play the Switch version. And the motion controls, I'm actually okay with. I'm not looking at it like, oh, I need it for the motion controls. I could care less, to be honest with you. But I'd like to know your guys' opinions on ports and whether you guys are happy with them or not, if you want them to keep on coming, or if you're kind of like me and you're kind of done with them and want something fresh, more original coming to the platforms. You know, I would like to know your thoughts and opinions on it, so make sure you comment. You can either do it on this podcast show or you can do it on this YouTube video, which however you're watching or listening to us. Just make sure you let us know your thoughts and opinions on it, because I would love to know. I'm just going off my own personal opinion on the matter. I'm kind of done with ports and done with remasters, because I consider remasters ports. That's essentially what they are. And if you give us a remastered game of a game that's already on the same platform, that's just stupid. Like if I see Dark Souls 3 remastered on the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, somebody at From Software needs to be slapped in the face. I don't think we're going to see that, because right now the game's as good as it's going to get on the current platforms. But I guarantee you, around the next generation of consoles, we're going to get some form or fashion one of the 3 Dark Souls games, if not all 3 packaged together in a big remaster package. It'll happen. It's coming. I promise you. It's going to come. Telling y'all that right now. Mark my words today. We are in the middle of July. It will happen. And one real quick side note, real quick, before we end this episode today. I talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the show, but I wanted to touch a little bit more on it. The state of cheaters, or hackers, if you will, in video games today. Why? I'm opening up the floor. I actually want to have a conversation with some of y'all. Why? What is the point? Do you sit back, or do you do it just because you can? Is it the thrill out of that? And the reason why I bring this up is because there's multiple games now that are starting to ban hackers and ban cheaters. And when I saw the number that were getting banned, it was staggering. Most of it is on PC, which many of us know, especially if you play PC games, knows a lot of that stuff is heavy, especially on PCs. I've gone on YouTube and watched videos of streamers caught cheating and get banned all in the same video. Why? Where's the... And this is where, to me, I'm in love with esports, and I do it for reasons like this, because it takes cheaters completely out of the equation and dumbs them down to where you're set by the league rules. Those are the rules you abide by. There is no cheating. It will be, trust me, verified and looked over. Equipment's always looked over no matter what tournament you're going to. You bring a fight stick or a fight pad to like a fighting game tournament, it's looked over. Trust me, I've been there. They're insured to make sure there is no advantage to one person to the other. Everybody's on an even playing field. That's why I love watching the competition of esports and the different types of games, from Gears of War to Battlefield, Overwatch, and then all the fighting games like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Soul Calibur, Tekken, Marvel vs. Capcom. I love watching non-cheating players compete because you get the best out of gamers that way. So to anybody out there that does this for fun, you do it in the majority of your games, or you always go into a game looking for a hack. You cannot, and I repeat, you cannot call yourself a gamer. Oh, I love video games, but I love to cheat. I love to find hacks that give me a step above everybody else in the game. Why? Because you don't want to take the time to get yourself better at a game and then beat your opponents that way. That's why I have such a problem with loot boxes. Loot boxes that give you an unfair advantage if you want to use your money for it. It's the good American way. If you have the money, you can be good at whatever you want. And to me, that's the poorest sportsmanship, the poorest idea you can give to anybody out there, especially in video games, sports, whatever. It doesn't matter. An unfair advantage in any competition, no matter what it is completely wrong. And loot boxes, in my opinion, does just that. If they give you can go to a loot box and buy, or World of Tanks, for example. Like, oh, there's this tank that's way out of reach, or I have to play a month worth of game to get that tank, or I can just pull out my credit card and buy it for $20. The gamers that buy that tank for $20, instead of moving up the progression ladder to get that tank themselves, I have no respect for. What's the whole point? What is the point? So you pay money for your victories? Does it give you that sense of achievement? Does it make you feel better? Or do you look at the game and say, I conquered this game? No, you didn't. Your credit card did. That's why I pride, and anybody who asks me, or anybody who knows me personally knows I'm a big Gears of War fan from the very first Gears, and Gears 2. I played a lot of Gears 2 as well. I played Gears for probably 4 hours, 4 to 5 hours every single night. Sure, there was other games that came along the way that I played for a little while and then always went right back to Gears. I played Gears every night. I didn't have to cheat at the game. I didn't have to find cheap skills to get out of certain situations. I could play my way out of any situation. I was so confident in my own skills at that game that I challenged people just because, one, if you had a big mouth, I wanted you to showcase it. I've gone to tournaments. I played against people that use cheap techniques to get out of situations and use it against them. The way you get good at a game, constant play. Forget the credit card. If there's loot you want or a weapon that you want, you work for that in the progression tree. If you can. Some games there's like, oh no, but you can buy this on special, but it's not anywhere in the progression tree. You know what? Get to a certain level to use that item. Okay, I get that. If you can buy a weapon you can buy the weapon, but you can't use it until like you're level 20, then work yourself up to level 20, then use it. I get that. I'm okay with that. It's the loot boxes that give you like the most powerful gun in the game if you spend a certain amount of money, and you can use it right there out of the gate. EA, I hope you're listening, because Battlefront was a huge mistake on that end. They're trying to remedy the whole situation now, but they've already put the nail in that coffin. Killed that game, killed its sales, to be honest with you. So games like PUBG and Sea of Thieves are banning players left and right because of hacks, because of cheating. And I know one person in particular that hacks and cheats in Sea of Thieves, and he enjoys it. You know who I'm talking about. If you're listening, you know who you are, buddy boy. I see you on my friends list every once in a while, and you brag about some of the stuff that you do. Why? Because it's fun? So it's fun for you to make other gamers that just kind of play the game for fun miserable? Come on. There's not a single game that I go and I use a hack on or a cheat on. Now look, if you exploit a glitch in a game, that's a whole nother story. If there's a glitch in the game and you just exploit it until the developer fixes it, that's one thing. I'm talking about you go and download or you build your own tool sets to upload into a game that give you an advantage over anybody else. That's where there's a problem. It's a big, big problem. I'd like to know your guys' thoughts and opinions on that as well. Make sure you comment in the video or the show itself. I would greatly appreciate it. But that's our show for today. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I've kind of blown off enough steam already. It's been a wild week. We got a crazy weekend coming up. We have Octopath Traveler coming this week. It's going to be in the office, so we are going to be doing some Let's Play and review videos on it. Make sure you check out the review. It will be going up sometime, hopefully here very, very soon. Hopefully by the end of the weekend, but I can't make any promises. So we got Octopath Traveler for the Nintendo Switch coming your way with the Let's Play videos and the under review video coming for it. So make sure you check those out. Excuse me. Make sure you follow us on all of our platforms. We are on Facebook at the Game Night Lounge. We are on Twitter at Game Night Lounge. You can follow me personally on Twitter at KODX Factor. You can check us out on our YouTube channel. We are the Game Night Lounge. You can also check us out on our website. We are at www.GameNightLounge.wordpress.com. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. We would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Give us a follow. We would much, much appreciate it. Again, I am KODX Factor. This is The Jump Off. We hope everybody enjoyed their 4th of July holiday. We will be back at this time again next week. And until next time, everybody, game on.